Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the show. It's Friday, July 7th, 2023. I swear, if I just don't predict the news. Yes, maybe I'm patting myself on the back a little bit. Oh, by the way, before I get into today's news, I want to say thank you to everybody who's written emails. I have not responded yet, but I did read them, giving me suggestions for a new name for the show. I got one in mind. It's pretty word on your sleeve. You'll see the changes hopefully coming in a couple days. But back to patting myself on the back. Did I not predict this? Did I not say that if you take a job at Binance, it's going to be the hardest job you ever taken, and you better be getting paid $1 million a year to show up in the office and try to work for that company? And the reason why I'm saying this today is because Binance's CEO, CZ, calls the reasons behind employee turnover completely wrong because some FUD is hitting the airwaves. Basically, CZ is responding to a media report calling a management and strategic crisis for Binance as executives are leaving the company in droves. And he's just calling that FUD. And his reply to all this is like, hey, the news is completely wrong. An organization that has grown from 30 to 8,000 employees in 6 years to become the world's largest exchange has turnover. So chill. In the wake of executives leaving, many of these former executives have went on the record saying that they're leaving Binance on good terms. In tweet fashion, this is how we do it nowadays. And I believe this is true. But like I said yesterday, when Binance put out that they're looking for a policy and regulation compliance manager executive to deal with the EU and make sure that they are going to be okay to deal with the different countries within the EU. What did I say? I said getting calls from CZ every day, making sure that you're moving forward and ahead with good news daily and trying to work with all the different regulators within the EU is going to be a headache. You better get paid $1 million a year. Now I'm thinking plus substantial bonuses. Anyway, reach out, bookings@todayinweb3.com if you applied for the job. And if you get it, you're welcome to come on the show. In a new yet unsurprising report, the New York Times reported that Taylor Swift signed a proposed tour sponsorship deal with FTX in the spring of 2022, following 6 months of negotiations. The deal was valued at around $100 million. And remember, in April, The Block reported that it was actually Taylor Swift who pulled out of the deal, citing comments from Adam Moskowitz, who is the lawyer on the lawsuit against the influencers that were shilling FTX, well, allegedly shilling FTX. He told The Block that Swift had done her due diligence, in quote, and asked whether crypto tokens were actually unregistered securities. Well, apparently, this was all false. It looks like this lawyer, Adam Moskowitz, is actually a Swiftie and wanted to protect T-Swift. I want to remind everyone that even Dave Ramsey and other people went on the record to praise Taylor Swift as smart and putting ethics over greed. This turns out to not be the case. The change in plans reportedly left Taylor Swift's side frustrated and disappointed that they weren't going to get that $100 million from Sam Bankman-Fried and FTX. So even though I'm disappointed, I am not surprised. But in all fairness, a lot of people got money from FTX at the time. And honestly, you'd be stupid to turn it down. FTX was a legitimate company, it seemed like. Sam Bankman-Fried was all over the covers of magazines and just throwing money everywhere to whatever he wanted to do. And if you were in the path of that money, scoop it up. And that's why I said, like, all of the politicians that got this money, all the companies that got this money, all the influencers that got this money, they shouldn't have to give it back. This was just doing business as usual. Who the hell would have known? Nobody had that on their bingo card that Sam Bankman-Fried was going to be the biggest fraud of the 2020s. So, I'm just saying that, hey, T-Swift, I'm happy you signed it. I'm happy you wanted to take that money. But I'm also disappointed because everybody said that you were the pinnacle of savvy and putting ethics over greed. I wouldn't even call it greed. It was just make that money, right? I don't know. What do you think? Bookings@todayinweb3.com. ARK Investment says that institutions are holding more Bitcoin than ever. And they said, in our view, increased balances on the over-the-counter desks suggest that institutions and other large capital allocators are focused increasingly on Bitcoin. Even Grayscale Bitcoin Trust started the year at $8.65 and now is changing hands at $20. And even though it's trading at a discount, it still has narrowed to only 30% discount. Nearly 70% of the over $19 million circulating supply of Bitcoin has not moved in more than a year. DeFi traders, they've lost $228 million to hackers in the past 3 months. Overall hacks across blockchains have went up 63% in the second quarter of 2023 compared to the same time last year. However, the total losses were down 60%. Doesn't matter, still $228 million are gone in Q2 alone. And this is only from 79 separate instances. In contrast, centralized exchanges lost $37 million, and that was only from 2 incidents. So 79 incidents in DeFi and $228 million compared to $37 million in 2 incidents in CeFi. And in one of those hacks, which I don't even think is counted in that $228 million, $126 million in multi-chain funds abnormally moved to an unknown address. They said that these funds are in various cryptocurrencies and have not yet moved to centralized exchanges or deposited in Mixi services. So they're just sitting in a wallet, $126 million worth of crypto. That's not good. Guys, not your keys, not your cheese. And just know that DeFi and these smart contracts and these cross-chain transactions and swaps are really risky. And I know I'm going to get an email sometime today that says, Matt, you don't know anything about DeFi. Stop putting fun into the market. Well, I do know that a lot of money is lost, or there's a lot of hacks out there. Not saying that you're 100% certain you won't lose anything, just saying you'll probably fare a little better. And finally, this is an interesting, I think, moral question that's being had right now with AI, because New York City, it just passed a law aimed at curbing AI bias. This new legislation is focused on artificial intelligence-driven employment tools, and it apparently went into effect on Wednesday, and it prohibits employers and agencies from using automated employment decision tools unless that tool is audited for bias within the last year. Basically, these automated employment decision tools assist or replaces discretionary decision-making. For example, the tools include like Freshworks, Breezy HR, Greenhouse, Zoho, and they use this to basically sort through resumes to pre-screen them. So you're basically getting all these resumes, you're putting into an AI tool, and they say, hey, these are good, which these AI could have bias. Interesting. 1 in 10 HR departments also said that they use a chatbot or an AI to draft termination letters. Basically, they're saying, can you really rely on AI to not be biased in the decision-making process if we're not looking into that decision-making process and auditing it? But also, is that audit going to be biased as well? Interesting questions. Now I know we all have a question about those crypto prices. Let's get into it.
Here comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
The time is 10:39 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Our fear and greed index is sitting neutral. It's at 59. Bitcoin sitting at $30,338, up 1.3% in 24. Ethereum's at $1,871, pretty much even from yesterday. Tether's number 3. Binance is at 235. I think it went down from yesterday, but it's saying it's up. Whatever. It's at 235. And USDC is number 5. Rounding off the top 10, we have XRP, Cardano, Doge, Solana, and Litecoin sitting at 97.20. The total market cap, we're sitting at 1.18 trillion, up 0.5% in 24. We have a BTC dominance closing in on 50%. It's at 49.9, and an ETH dominance of 19.1. And that was our show today. I hope everybody's going to have a great weekend. I know I will. And until Monday, happy hodling, everyone.